Welcome back to Intermat's conference report. Today we're talking EIWA wrestling, and we have our conference correspondent Austin Sommer here. Austin, how are you doing?
Doing good. It's Thursday here when we're recording, almost Friday. Looking forward to it. We're almost there.
That's right. That's right. So let's get down to it. Big news this week. Cornell's coaching staff kind of is rounding into form. Them along with Spartan Combat RTC. Big news. Talk about the hirings there.
Yeah, we had three, I think, big hires for Cornell. Associate head coach Donnie Vinson just did some time at NC State down there. He's from upstate New York originally. He wrestled at Binghamton, so he's kind of coming back home. And, closing off full circle here, he actually did some volunteer work at Cornell for 3 years before going to NC State. So familiar with some of those guys, familiar with Coach Gray, familiar with the area, of course. That's always good. Definitely good to have him in there. He's a one-time All-American for Binghamton too, so definitely no slouch in the room. Secondly, they have assistant coach Kellen Russell. We all know him, two-time NCAA champ, three-time All-American at Michigan. New Jersey native, so he's coming a little closer to home there, going to Ithaca. And he was a Michigan assistant for, 7 or 8 years now at Michigan. Little change of scenery here coming back to Cornell. But, I think he's going to do great things there, helping out with RTC as well, like you mentioned with Spartan. Lastly, speaking of Spartan RTC, Nick Gwizdowski, going to be, the new athlete there. And he's going to be a volunteer assistant at Cornell. Definitely helping out those big guys in the room. Again, another guy wrestled at Binghamton, transferred NC State when Coach Papalizio left. And he's kind of returning home to New York here, where he's originally from. So you kind of see a lot of guys moving away and coming back to the area. You tend to see that, as they kind of start to settle down in life, start to get families and stuff like that. So, I think Cornell is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the EIWA, but also the NCAA as well. I think they're going to be back in, top 5 form in no time here.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. I didn't tell you about this. I actually don't necessarily know the answer, but I was looking back through past results and stuff. Donnie Vinson, 2011, he was at 149 pounds for Binghamton, and I know that was your true freshman year, 149 as well, CAA Drexel.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys, I assume you guys had to clash at some point during the year?
Yeah, we wrestled somewhere. I think it was CAA duels down in, I think they were at George Mason that year, and it was ugly. I don't think he quite tech followed me. I think he beat me like 10 or 12, but there was nothing I could do against him. Like you said, I was just a young freshman. He was just top 10 in the country, just kind of bullying me around. But yeah, it wasn't pretty, but yeah, he's a good wrestler. I can confirm that.
Firsthand, you heard it here.
Yeah.
All
Don't
right.
pull up that video. I don't know if it exists, but if it does, don't pull it up.
Yeah, I was trying to find the result when we were scrambling to get on here and could not find the actual result, but I figured that might have happened. But
Yeah.
So, all right, we're big thing we're talking about on Intermat, coaching changes. There's a ton of openings still out there in this EIWA, and then just maybe 2 hours ago we had Penn announce their new assistant coach. So go through what you know about Penn as well as some of these openings.
Yeah, like you said today, pretty freshly announced. BJ Futrell is now the assistant at Penn. He was formerly with Navy, came to Penn RTC as an athlete. I think he was kind of like their first big signing. Definitely made some noise in the world stage there. Beat some highly ranked guys, wrestled all over the world. Kind of put Penn RTC on the map there. Before that, 2-time All-American at Illinois. So I think he's been kind of in the room, with the RTC a little bit, doing a lot of good things with Beat the Streets and other charities in the area. So definitely a good guy on and off the mat to have in the room. Also, Penn, I think it was last week, they announced Mark Hall as their volunteer assistant. We all know Mark Hall from Penn State. He's actually an athlete at PRTC. I think he's going to be a great young addition to the staff. Just gotten to meet him a few times. He's like a genius when it comes to the sport. He's kind of, he's out there. I was commentating with him at the one summit match the PRTC held, and he was kind of like predicting the future. Like, oh, this guy's going to look for this move. 5 seconds later, the guy hits a high crotch or whatever Mark Hall was saying. So he obviously knows the sport, really good at the technique stuff, just really good for the sport, really good at game planning too, from what I've heard. Kind of goes in line with all those Penn State guys. Obviously, he's still a great workout partner. As he's still training to become world champion with Coach Slay there at Penn RTC. I think Penn is going to be sitting pretty for a few years too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are some of these openings we're still, looking to get filled, or we're monitoring?
Yeah, talking to Coach Azevedo from Drexel the other day here. Actually, it's not publicly known yet, but I am allowed to announce it. So, the assistant coach there, Zach Schaefer, he is actually leaving Drexel. He was an All-American at heavyweight 9 years ago, something like that. He's been with Coach Azevedo since he started, coming up on 8 or 9 years now. So they're going to need an assistant, probably an upperweight coach to kind of take Coach Schaefer's spot. Kind of be interesting to see what they hire here, because there's a lot of spots open in the conference and outside the conference. So I'm not sure who's available, who's willing to leave this late, start something new. That's kind of with all these positionings as well. Volunteer assistant at Drexel also is available. Other volunteer jobs we have Brown, Bucknell are just two of them. Hofstra is looking for an assistant as well.
Yeah,
American.
And I'll jump in there with Hofstra. I just spoke with Coach Papadopoulos today, and that hasn't been officially announced, but they are looking for one, and they actually should get some credit from last year, as they kind of were down an assistant the entire season. So this one is actually being filled from last year, but it hasn't made public. But like you said, with Drexel, they are going to be in search for one.
Yeah, and that's tough for Hofstra because don't they? I think they have a cap limit on their roster. They can only have like 19 guys in their roster. So being down a coach and having a good year last year, that's impressive stuff for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just recently announced Ned Shuck is going to be the Bellarmine coach. So he's leaving Army, which means there's an assistant job available at Army now. So Coach Ward is going to be looking for someone to fill those shoes.
We already talked last time about them filling a position with Jesse Delavecchia. So,
yeah.
They're going to be with two new faces on staff.
Yeah, definitely. And I know Coach Ward is really good at finding guys like that, kind of like Coach Shuck, just to kind of maybe under the radar, did some work in NAIA, Division II, Division III, coming up to Division I and having some success. So I'm interested to see who Coach Ward picks up for that position. I haven't heard anything on the American positions yet. I think there's still 3 out there that are available. So Coach Borelli kind of talking to a few guys. I heard a few guys say no, I think because they're still training. Not sure if that's going to be made public yet or not, but that's all I'm going to say about that. And then Lehigh, still looking for that second assistant we talked about last time. I think Darian Cruz is going to be the guy there. That's just me. I'm not sure about that, but I think he'd be a good guy to fit that second position role for sure.
Yeah, so transfers that's also kind of the other big thing we've been monitoring across the country right now. So what have we seen lately with transfer front?
Yeah, not a ton of guys moving into EIWA recently. We talked to Ryan Anderson last time, big get for Binghamton. After that video dropped, actually Gage Garcia was a big name, transferred into Lehigh to wrestle and play football. He was one of the top, I think, 5 guys coming out of high school, did a year at Michigan for both football and wrestling. Obviously, hell of an athlete. I think he's going to fit into Lehigh's lineup pretty well there at the mid to upper weight tier. And playing football, so he might be missing those November, maybe December matches to the time he gets in college shape. Another transfer I had down, not really EIWA related, but kind of Jordan Oliver to the New York RTC. Kind of taking role there and kind of training with Columbia guys a little bit. So I think that'll be good. for Coach Tonelli up there to get Jordan Oliver in the room, qualify the Olympics, or didn't qualify the Olympic spot, but was our rep for the U.S. there at 65 kilos. So good guy to have in the room for sure. That's pretty much it for transfers EIWA. Kind of been pretty quiet on that front the last few weeks here.
Yeah, and you mentioned Columbia. I'm sure as we get closer to the season, we'll talk more about lineups and stuff like that. But they're one that's really caught my eye the past couple of years with the boost they've had in recruiting, and they have some good rising seniors already kind of committed. So that's a program that I'm going to have my eye on going forward.
Yeah, same. I'm excited for them. Like you said, the recruiting classes the past few years have been kind of under the radar, kind of sneaky good. They're pulling guys in from kind of all over the place that are kind of fit what they need, and I think they're going to work out in the future.
Cool. I understand. Do you have something else for us?
Yeah, just a few fun things here. Actually, a week from today, the NIL came into effect here. College students can actually make money off sponsorships, their name, image, and likeness. I haven't seen much of anything major in the EIWA. Not many guys would be kind of fit this bill that would be major players, guys like Yanni, maybe Vito, Pat Glory, Quincy Monday, the big guys might be able to, but I haven't seen anything yet officially that I've seen on social media. I could be wrong if they just haven't, been super public with it, but I'm going to try and, kind of study those and maybe get an update for you guys next time. Kind of do some digging there. Secondly, another thing I saw today on Twitter, which is kind of crazy. Coach Clark at Sacred Heart. I don't know if you saw his video, Earl.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
He kicked a 55-yard field goal barefoot, and I could have sworn it was photoshopped. He swears it's not, but he booted the hell out of that ball. Went through, hit the actually right upright and went in. It was really cool to see on video, and I know Mason Beckman's trying to get him noticed by Pat McAfee on his podcast, Out Kicking, or not. What's his show again? Pat McAfee.
I don't know. I know the show.
I'm drawing a blank here, but yeah, we're trying to get him involved. And hey, barefoot guy, Division I coach, kicking 55-yarders barefoot, really impressive, no matter who you are.
Yeah, you got to check that out because I'm a little older than you, so there were a couple guys when I was coming up in the NFL that kicked barefoot, but I don't think anybody's really tried that in like 30 years, probably.
Yeah, it's quite a video. It's out there on Twitter. Go out there and find it and see it, and let's get some recognition for Coach Clark because I think that's impressive.
Yeah, it was absurd.
Yeah, and thirdly, just I think I sent it to you. Coach Borelli at American did a cooking recipe for, I guess, all the American sports at the university. All their coaches are coming up with recipes and giving directions on how to make it. Coach Borelli did a recipe for bruschetta. I just kind of had this crazy idea. It'd be cool to do like a fundraiser for all the coaches, kind of come together, raise some money for some kind of charity or whatever, and maybe have Willie Smalls, be the judge for anything Italian meals. I know he's into that, pasta dishes, but yeah, I think it'd be a cool idea just to see any coach out there that can cook, maybe bring a recipe, and it'd just be a fun idea. Probably won't happen, but just something fun to.
Well, I've seen videos in the past of the Princeton staff doing the whole Taylor ham pork roll deal. So you get those guys involved. That could be fun. And probably by the time we record next time, I'll have gone to American University and talked to Coach Borelli. So hopefully, maybe we'll talk some food, some cooking, and report back.
You try out that recipe, see if it's worth it.
Yeah, I know. Bruschetta is always a favorite of myself and my wife, so I'd love to be able to bring that back.
Yeah, and on top of that, I was kind of tweeting out a little bit like, hey, this would be a cool fundraiser. And actually, Coach Brian Pearsall at Penn was like, hey, count me in. I'm the man in the kitchen here. So we got one guy for this fundraiser. I'm sure Coach Brelli will do it too. So got two guys so far. Looking forward to it.
These are wrestlers, wrestling coaches. They're competitive. So you've got one coach that says he's the best cook. You're going to have 2 or 3 or 4 others that are throwing their hats in the ring, saying
Yeah,
no.
definitely turn into a competition real quick. You know how wrestlers are.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Austin. So do you have anything else for us this time?
No, not yet. I kind of wish I had more than just coaching changes, but that's all that's really going on right now. So we kind of discussed all that. I want to start getting into more NIL stuff with some of these wrestlers. I'm hoping some deals come. It's only been a week. We got time yet. So hoping some of these guys start to find some deals and, make some money off what they're doing. Looking forward to that, see how that plays out, especially with Ivy Leagues and, EIWA schools are kind of a little different academically and athletically compared to the other big time schools like the Big 10, Big 12, guys like that. But, it'll be interesting to see how this stuff works out.
Yeah, I think some of those they'll come in due time. And I know next week I'm heading out to Fargo, and I've kind of broken down the list of kids that have committed to schools or signed with them, by conference. And there's a lot of EIWA guys that are going out there. So, we'll probably have some to talk about with those guys and their results.
Yeah, I know a few teams are starting to slowly release, their official press releasings of commits and recruits coming in next year. So we'll start digging into that as well with you, just to kind of see, who's going where, what schools need what weights, what they're looking for in the future. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming up here. We're just school starts like next month already. So it's going to be the season before we know it.
Yeah, exactly. Fargo Olympics, and then we're looking at preseason. So Once again, thank you very much for joining us, Austin, and we will be in touch shortly.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.